Hi everyone! Welcome to FlexWorld Series 2023, the global conference where the future of work meets the office of tomorrow. We are Viliana, Senior Customer Success, and
Mirjana, Professional Services Lead at OfficeRnD.
And we are truly honored to join the event as moderators for a second consecutive year.
Over the next 3 hours, we will embark on a journey of discovery, innovation, and collaboration. Our distinguished speakers and panelists will share their invaluable insights and experiences, offering us a unique opportunity to gain new perspectives and knowledge in the field of hybrid working, tech-powered strategies, payments, and Wi-Fi mastery.
Now, without further ado, let's begin our journey of exploration and inspiration. We're starting with a keynote speech by the biggest fan of flexible working and a driving force behind the workplace revolution, the CEO of OfficeRnD, Miro Miroslavov. Please welcome Miro on stage.
Thank you, ladies. Hi, everyone. I'm Miro, one of the co-founders, CEO of OfficeRnD. And today, we're going to talk about the future of work and the future of flexible workspaces. We've gathered in a lot of interesting topics for today. We'll start with discussing the hybrid workplaces. Then we'll go through all sorts of interesting topics around payments, Wi-Fi, how to grow faster in the future of work, and overall how to expand our flexible and co-working spaces. Before we finish, we'll go through also our roadmap and all the exciting technologies that we're building next year. Before that, I'm super excited to share a very interesting news from our side. So recently, we received a quite substantial growth investment from Blue Star Innovation Partners. And what's really exciting and interesting about that is actually before committing a pretty massive round, Blue Star did a very extensive market research on the co-working and flex spaces industry. And the market research confirmed that our industry is in the best shape ever. Despite the recent news about WeWork and all of that, our industry is crushing it, and there is a really bright future for the co-working space and flexible workspaces. That's why overall we are super excited to partner with Blue Star. They have a really interesting portfolio of companies that are all of them software businesses in the similar domains. So we'll be able to actually gain experience from the folks like Storable and TravelNet and other comparable products in different prop tech industries. So overall, our vision remains. We firmly believe that the future of work is flexible, and we are on a mission to make flexible working the way of working. And by partnering with Blue Star, we believe that we can achieve that vision faster, which is at the end of the day the goal. We all want to see flexible workspaces over the world, like at massive quantities. We believe that the co-working spaces deliver enormous amount of value to local communities. We're particularly excited to see the next phase of co-working space movements and growing the spaces locally outside of the central business districts and over the place that actually people live, closer to where people live. So we'll explore a lot of the trends today, and we remain extremely bullish about the co-working space industry, and we are on a mission to make flexible working the way of working. So I'm super excited to also invite Ben, who's a good friend and one of the most recognizable industry leaders leading the JLL Flex, and he'll talk a little bit more about the future of Flex. Ben, take it away.
Miro, thanks so much for the introduction. Everyone, great to see you today. Hopefully technology will support us and be kind, and we'll get through this together. Before I go on, I just wanted to say congratulations to the entire team at OfficeRnD and of course Miro on their partnership with Blue Star. It's a phenomenal achievement. I have had the pleasure of knowing Miro and his co-founder Miro for 8 years now, since it was the two of them, and they have done amazing things with OfficeRnD, and I'm really excited about what they're going to do in the future. So with that, I'm going to tell you a story today. That's my aim anyway. So hopefully I can share slides and you should be able to see them. I'm going to assume you can, and if you can't, someone will tell me. So what is the point of the office, and who gets to decide on work-life balance? I'm going to share a lot of information on the slides. You'll be delighted, I hope, to know that I'm not going to talk through all of the information on the slides. I'm going to let you just soak it up while I talk about the story of offices, what they should be for in the future, the supply issues facing the market, and what we think the future shape of demand looks like. I'm incredibly lucky working at JLL. I have hundreds of research colleagues who are constantly looking not only at the real estate market, but also at the demand profile. So occupiers, employers, thinking about the way that their employees are going to work. And today I'm delighted to be able to give you a sneak preview of some new research from our enterprise research team led by the fantastic Flor Pradere, called Is Hybrid Really Working? That will be out this month, so please look out for it. I also like to thank Alex Colpart, who's shared a lot of the supply research with me. So you'll see that on the slides. I'm just going to pick out kind of high points as we go on and try and think about and encourage you to think about what the point of the office is. So in terms of the office challenge, there are lots to think about, right? Occupiers, their demand profile is changing. ESG is a significant piece for them. Of course, hybrid working, we're going to talk a bit about that. And we're going to give you a view later on around what employers are thinking and what employees are thinking. And it probably won't surprise you to hear that those things don't necessarily completely tie up. Of course, we also have a real challenge in capital markets at the moment, you know, where funding comes from for real estate. So we have high interest rates. We have therefore increased cost of capital. So getting work done is challenging. Supply is looking at significant rebasing potentially of values of some office stock. You think about some of those big CBDs that we see around the world where you've got lots of office buildings. Is the demand profile changing enough to question whether those are the right kinds of environments for us going forward to support work? And let's have a look at this. Just at a high level, office demand is muted. It probably won't surprise everyone. Just to give you a view, on the left is statistics from our research colleagues showing the level of gross leasing figures for office in different regions around the world. Just so you know, that's a blend of kind of 50 markets in the US, 23 in Europe, 22 in Asia Pacific. And you can see that we've had a not insignificant and not probably unsurprising drop off following COVID, but also continuing now as we move out of COVID. And so on the right, you've got net absorption. That means how much space is actually being taken up when you think about those that are leaving space, those that are taking new space. And you can see that we've got a very different profile there in terms of negative net absorption. That means that the more space is coming onto the market, i.e. more vacancy, than there is supply being taken up. It does vary by region, so it's an interesting figure, and that means that for you as either employers thinking about hybrid work, you know, thinking about the office space you need, or indeed as flex operators thinking about opportunity, it really is still a case of location, location, location. And you can see occupancy. We talk about return to office. That's been a mantra, right? We've seen it on LinkedIn. We've read about it in the news. I don't think anyone could argue that the office as an asset, as a business tool, has never been more in the public eye than it is right now. I was going to try and get through this without referencing the news that probably everyone's seeing today, not necessarily unexpected, about a certain large provider of flexible spaces. But that isn't the only news, right? You're seeing constant conversation about what is the office for and are we going to get people back into the office. And while there is a trend, again, varies regionally, we'll look even down at cities in a minute, of increasing use of the office, I don't think anyone would argue that it is in constant use 5 days a week. And in fact, we're going to see that it isn't. So here's some great information. This comes out of the report that I mentioned in terms of, is hybrid really working? I think what's interesting here, again, you can read the detail, but you've got the current view of how many work from office days. We used to be WFH, that was a conversation, work from home. Now we're talking about WFO, work from the office. So by key markets, what is currently going on around the world, and then also expected. So what do employees think they should be doing in terms of the amount of time they're spending in the office? You can see there's a bit of disparity there. So in Asia Pacific, generally people are spending more time in the office than necessarily they're spending, they think they should. In EMEA, it's relatively balanced. I would point out, this is just an interesting thing from my perspective, that there are only a couple of markets, Germany and Switzerland, in our data, where the current amount of office time is actually less than the expected, right? At the what you see is generally on the left, more people expect to work from the office than they do. There is a greater expectation of being able to work more flexibly, as shown on the right, than is currently being employed, apart from in Germany. UK, it's quite low, and the expectation with the actual is on point. So really interesting in terms of the divergence there. And I think divergence is hopefully a theme that's coming up as we go through this. And then, of course, we do a lot of work with large enterprise customers. Not all of these are our customers. These are public statements about the return to office and expectations of the employer. And when we think about divergence again, I think we may see in some of this data a divergence between what companies are saying they want their employees to do and what their employees think they should be able to do in terms of where they work. So some big names saying some interesting things about who should be in the office and when. So I think we should talk a little bit about actually what is happening, and then why is there that divergence? What is it that is different in an employer's expectation versus, say, an employee's expectation, right? So you can see here, again, I won't read all the detail to you, but you can see that we've got a challenging view, a changing view of how much time people are spending at home as opposed to being in the office. An increasing number of residents, as we've called them, versus hybrid and then kind of remote hybrid, i.e. doing less than half their time at the office. But still, you've got a large group of actual data showing us that we are not in the office 5 days a week. Now, for those of you that know that have been in the industry as long as I have, and I won't tell you how long that is, this actually has been a picture that we've seen before. This is not that new. We've always understood that the office is a flexibly utilized tool in supporting business productivity. What's interesting is how much that has come to be focused on by employers and thought about by employees as well, in terms of their rights to have that flexibility and to be able to make choices for themselves about when they should be in the office. So let's talk a little bit about those expectations. Let's talk about what employers think the point of the office is. And so this is from decision makers around the world, primarily CRE decision makers, so commercial real estate, corporate real estate decision makers who are responsible for housing the employees of a company, finding them workspace. So number one, miles above the rest, is face-to-face collaboration, right? Implied within that, and you all know this, is the importance of human connectivity, of physical presence, of body language in communication, in terms of collaboration, and in terms of innovation, right? Getting work done, productivity gains. Related to that is the productivity gains, which is number 2, right? We think, this is what employers are saying, we think people will be more productive. Our business will be more successful if people are in the office. It'll lead to greater social connections. It'll help us with our culture. It'll help with mentorship and development. You can see this sliding scale, right? And then what isn't so important necessarily is employees being allowed to choose their work location, right? So you've got a view here that says intrinsically and instinctively, we believe that the office as a gathering place for employees is an important tool, a productive tool in the business of business. So what about employees? Do they see it the same way? Well, probably won't surprise you here either, but maybe not, because commute time is a big barrier, particularly in our major cities, right? Over half our populations live in cities. That's forecast to grow to around 70% by the UN by 2050. So we're all going to be living in cities. All of the kind of use of office primarily is in cities, right? And look at the commute as a burden, if you like, to employees. So should I overcome that? I remember talking to one of our clients at a large international bank. They used the phrase, we've got to earn the commute. So if you're going to come into the office, what do you get for coming into the office? If in principle, you don't need to get your work done. Right, other barriers, timing conflicts. And then you look at a few which are highlighted in dark, right, which is actually about the physical environment. So the physical environment may not suit what we want to get done. So there, a bit of divergence, not necessarily in terms of the belief about whether it's valuable to be in the office, but some significant barriers and perhaps demand for employees who want to be there. And picking up on that idea of productive work environments, right, look at this again. Feedback from our research surveys in terms of how important is an aspect of the environment, that top line, and how satisfied are people with it. And you can see that there are some real kind of design challenges. You think about being an operator of flex space, right? This won't necessarily surprise you in terms of what's important to create a great work environment. So I'm coming to the end of my quick canter through a lot of information. Hopefully it's been useful. There's an awful lot in here, right? As I think about hybrid, as I think about flex space, right? Flex space, I think, is finally the product that real estate needs to create that pull for employees to want to get together, right? To address loneliness, right? There are challenges of working from home. We've seen research that shows that working in co-working spaces reduces loneliness, gives a sense of purpose, of community, right? We've got this balance at the moment. You could argue that employees have been on the up in terms of this idea that there's a fight between employers and employees, and maybe that's going to shift. But is it? How much will people accept change? Now, if we have a significant recession, you might say that the power sits within employers to try and say this is exactly what we want. But I think overall, what I'd like you to take away is that 1, work habits are changing. 2, the office is important. And 3, Flex is amazingly well positioned to provide a product that's fit for purpose in this different consumption model that we face in the future. Hopefully that set us up well for today. I really appreciate your time. Would love to hear from you if you're interested in learning more. And I know that I'm looking forward to the rest of the day. So thank you for your attention. I'm going to try and stop sharing while I speak. I'm going to hand back to the moderators. Have a great conference, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you for all of the data and information that you just shared, Ben. I think that for everyone that was quite insightful. So thank you once again for joining and, in a way, opening the conference today.
Pleasure. Have a good one.